Hello, hello, hello. This is Talking Manchester United, a United Stand podcast with myself, Paul Gardner. And joining me, as always, is Ash Burns. Ash, how are you, my friend?
Yes, I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. The season is drawing to an end rather quickly, which is positive at this stage of the season. But yeah, not too bad. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And I'm of the same sort of mindset as you. Thankfully, the season is drawing to a close. Another season where weeks before it finishes, we can't wait until the end of it. And it's becoming quite a recurring theme, and I don't like it very much, Ash.
No, it's not not great, is it?
Well, let's crack on. So we'll talk about the Chelsea game, briefly go over that. Look forward to the Huddersfield game, and then obviously take it over to Twitter and see what people are saying on there. Well, Chelsea, a game that we discussed this last week. It was sort of a must-win game or a must-not-lose game if we were to have any hope of reaching the top four. A win would have brought us level on points with them, only behind on goal difference with 2 games left. As it stands, the draw has left us 3 points behind, 2 games left. It's not over yet. That's the title of the podcast. There is still a bit of hope. But what did you think of the game?
I thought it was better than we've seen over the past maybe 6 or 7 games, however many it's been. I thought we looked all right in the first half, considering it's Chelsea, who we know are dangerous and can cause us problems. I thought we took a foothold on the game fairly early and played some decent stuff, to be honest. I thought we moved the ball well. The changes who come in did okay. And it was lethargic at times, but I thought we looked a bit more potent going forward. Which proved we finally got our goal after however many games was it without a goal.
A decent goal.
It was a very good goal. Yeah, it was really well worked. Mata, who was a big question mark over when we saw the starting 11, but fair play, popped up in that position again and tucked it away nicely. And then from then, it was always going to go one or two ways, wasn't it? It was always going to go. We were going to go on and score a few more and put in a very good performance, or we were going to fold as we have done in recent weeks and cause ourselves problems. And unfortunately, it was the latter. We can see that goal, another mistake from De Gea, which is frustrating. But even after the mistake, we had plenty of chances to get back into the game. Chelsea were there for the taking for most of the game. They didn't cause us too many problems, and we just couldn't put our rhythm together. We couldn't get forward well enough. I think maybe lack of options again hurting us. We can't really approach the game from a different angle if things aren't working. Obviously due to the lack of quality we've got on the bench and so forth. So it's frustrating. It's not a loss, but it's a game that we really should have won, and I think we deserve to win in the end.
Yeah, I think when you consider the occasion, i.e. a must-win game, this is crucial for top 4 qualification. I did expect more from the team, more urgency. Like I say, it was an improvement on our most recent games, but I still expected more from them, and it's just frustrating that we couldn't get those 3 points. Unfortunate because of the error from David De Gea, but we won't focus too much on that because enough people have already had their say about that. We've had a say on it as well. It's David De Gea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gets a free pass as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
For the rest of this season, at least anyway. It remains to be seen whether he's going to be with us next season. I'd like to hope he is. But that's a conversation for another time. Any standout players for you?
Not really. It's got that feeling about it, isn't it? The Player of the Year awards were announced, was it this week? And you look at the same replies in every single post. It's like, what's the point? Yeah, is there really a player that's really stood out for us above everything? What I will say, I thought Herrera, especially in that first half, gave us a different dynamic, I think, than what we were missing. I thought the midfield was much more dominant than it has been in the past few weeks. And it shows us, obviously
and that's
Herrera.
No coincidence, is it, with Herrera back in the team alongside
it's really
Matic and Pogba, which those were the 3 that were solid together in that spell of that run of wins we had.
Yeah, it's no coincidence, and it's, I've been saying it for a while. He just brings so much balance to that midfield. He is. If we continue with this system, I don't think this is the system to go forward, because I think Matic needs replacing. I think he can be a liability sometimes. Yes, he has the decent game here and there, but I think with the pace of the Premier League and 50 plus games a season, he's not going to cut it. He's only going to be a year older next year as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of everything that's gone on, as you said, we dominated most of our games early on with this three, and we need a player in that mold. Obviously, it looks like Herrera's going to PSG next season, but we need a player in that mold, because Matic, he's a very laboured kind of player. He likes to screen in front of the back four. He reads the game really well, but obviously his energy levels and his pace isn't what it was. And then Pogba, completely opposite. He wants to get forward. He wants to take the ball forward, and Herrera is just floating somewhere in the middle, and it works really well. And it shows how much we missed him, and how much balance and calmness I thought he brought to the midfield. So he was a big positive, although I don't think he had a fantastic game. I thought he let others play around him. I thought that was really good. Apart from that, I mean, there's no real stand-up performance. I thought Rashford was poor again. I thought Lukaku was decent at times, to be fair to him. He ran the lines well. He held the ball up on occasion decently. His ball through to Shaw was fantastic as well, to set up a goal. But again, no real stand-up performance. Just a few solid performances, which you should be expecting every single week, to be honest. There
was a clip of Lukaku during the game, where I think it wasn't that far from, I think like 20 minutes in, where the camera focused on Lukaku and he looked absolutely knackered. Do you remember that bit?
I don't remember seeing that. No.
Yeah, he was hands on knees, panting, leaning backwards, shoulders back, like taking a deep breath. It was less than 20 minutes into the game, I think, and the commentators made a point of it after the game as well. But yeah, no, to be fair though, I think overall his performance wasn't horrendous.
No,
he missed an early chance. He missed a chance early on in the game, but that lovely little chip pass to set Luke Shaw through, and Luke Shaw, another player that impressed me a little bit against Chelsea as well. I thought he had a relatively solid game.
Yeah,
his pass earlier in the game over to Lukaku. I think that's where Lukaku was offside. But what a pass that was! I mean, that was hit perfectly.
Yeah.
And it showed that Luke Shaw's got the vision to make that sort of pass, and that, which is encouraging. Another positive you can add to Luke Shaw. We mustn't forget that Luke Shaw's obviously had almost 2 years of his development stumped from injury, so he is technically 2 years behind on his development.
Yeah.
So slow and steady steps. We need to stick with him, I think, because he does show a lot of potential, and I think next season could be another breakthrough, like the one under Van Gaal, that breakthrough season where he got injured. I think we could see him have something like that again, maybe next season. I mean, he's shown signs of it from in bits this season. I think next season could be a strong season for Shaw, providing obviously Solskjaer likes him, of course. But yeah, what a brilliant pass that was from Lukaku, and what a good. So this is one thing that annoyed me about Shaw when Lukaku put that ball over to Shaw.
He should have hit it first time.
Well, no, he's not a striker. That'd have just gone into Rosette if he did that. But more often than not, this is one area that Luke Shaw needs to work on. That's his crossing into the box, because it's poor. Let's not beat around the bush. He needs to work on it, and more often than not, when he tries to play it across the box, if he pulls it back too far. If he tries to drill it across the floor, it never beats the first defender. But what I was impressed with is the way he cut that ball back for Juan Mata, and you got to give credit to Mata as well for being in that position in the first place, because not a lot of our players would have had the vision or the common sense to do that. So definitely a well worked goal. Trying to think of some other players that really stood out, and I can't really think. I mean, Rashford was. I thought, well, he's been struggling a lot recently, but apparently he's been carrying an injury as well the last couple of weeks, a shoulder injury. Which is why he went off in the game against Chelsea. But apparently he's going to be fit for the Huddersfield game. But go on, you were going to say?
Oh, well, just to add to that then, I don't know, you might have heard more recently than I have. I heard some things about Lukaku and Rashford might be out for the next 2 games. But if you've heard that Rashford's back for the Huddersfield game, that could be
Well, I read that Rashford trained on Wednesday and looked all right. Yesterday he trained. Apparently Lukaku is injured, and will miss possibly the rest of the season. But no, as far as I'm aware, Rashford is fit.
Oh, right, okay.
Rashford is fit. Sanchez come on 25 minutes, didn't really do a lot. I thought no.
Pogba had half decent game, I thought.
Pogba, yeah, he was all right.
Flashes.
Yeah, but I seen a stat that he actually lost the ball more times than any other player on the pitch in that game.
We seem to be doing a lot of that.
But you could also say, well, yeah, that's because he had the ball the most of every other player.
I don't mind an attacking player losing the ball. I mean, that's at least that means they're trying things, isn't it?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Let's move forward to Huddersfield then.
Yep, I have got it. I have got my notes here somewhere. So yeah, it's a little bit contrasting to the sort of games that we've had very recently with Chelsea and Barcelona and Man City. You look at Huddersfield's recent form, a 5-0 loss to Liverpool, a 2-1 loss to Watford, a 4-0 loss to Spurs, a 4-1 loss to Leicester, a 2-0 loss to Palace, and then you have to go back as far as the 26th of February for their last win, which ironically was against Wolves, a 1-0 win. So, I mean, form-wise, you look at Huddersfield, for me, they've comfortably been the worst team in the league all season.
But they haven't played a cup final yet. This Sunday is going to be a cup final.
It just is, isn't it? Everything points to it. You look at the goals they're conceding, 5 goals, 4 goals here, struggling to score, and you just know they're going to turn up and put on a show. But yeah, I mean, it surely bodes well for us going into this game, doesn't it?
Well, you would think so. I'm confident. I'm confident we'll win our last 2 games. I really am. But yeah, like you say, I think this is the first time this season where we've previewed a game where the opposition have lost every single, all of their last 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
So if there's going to be a game where we should feel confident, it's this one.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And I think, we talked a lot before the Chelsea game. If we lost that game, then that there'll be a decent chance for some rotation, maybe some youngsters blooded in. If we won, obviously there'd be a lot more onus on us to try and get the win in the last 2 games to try and secure top 4. But we got the draw, so it was a little bit of a in between, a bit disappointment, but not too bad. Do you think it's still the time maybe now, even though we didn't lose, even though there's still a little bit of hope? Do you think there's still time for us to bring some youngsters in and give them some experience for the end of the season?
At this stage, I wouldn't put any in the starting 11. Okay. Not just yet, but we'll go into our starting 11s in a moment. But okay, so Huddersfield are relegated already, nothing to play for. Yep. They might come at us, just to see if they can, which should give us a bit of space. So yep. I don't know. I wouldn't at this point. I wouldn't. Yep. I still wouldn't. And when it gets to the point where top 4 becomes impossible, and it is just a case of, because when you think back to when Ollie started, at that point, we thought top 4 was gone.
Yeah.
So at that point, we were like, yeah, get the kids playing. And then look what happened. Suddenly, we were on this massive run of winning games, which nobody expected. Ollie didn't even expect it. And then we started realizing that, okay, yeah, these kids aren't going to get a chance, except obviously when Paris came, but that's because of all the injuries.
Yeah.
And we find ourselves in that situation now as well, where it's not a case of top 4 is impossible. It is still possible. It's looking quite unlikely at the moment, but at the rate that the teams around us are dropping points, what was it the week just gone? Not a single team in the top, well, apart from the top 2, from 3rd down to 6th, not a single team won a game.
No.
And it's been like that last couple of weeks. Teams are dropping points. And over the next 2 weeks, they're going to drop points, I reckon. Yeah. So if we can pick up 6 points, we might just pip Chelsea and Arsenal. We might just pip Chelsea and Arsenal to top 4. I'm hopeful. And for that reason, the fact that there's still a chance, I wouldn't be chucking the kids in just yet.
Yeah, I'm a half and half. For me, I think with the injury, well, I thought coming into this game that Lukaku was injured, which apparently he is now. I think that has all but been confirmed. I thought Rashford was going to be injured. And I thought maybe one of the youngsters, maybe Mason Greenwood gets a chance against the likes of Huddersfield as well, who've been ridiculously poor all season. But seeing that that Rashford is fit, he's still got Lingard, he's still got Sanchez, it's made me even more doubtful now. But I'd like to see at least one or two on the bench. The last 2 games of the season, we want to keep them hungry going into next season if we're going to start bringing youngsters through, which apparently is part of our ethos going forward to next season now. A lot of speculation, a lot of talk about Ed Woodward and the board looking at our strategy, overall strategy, that signing these big marquee players, individuals, isn't doing the job for us, and we want to look at bringing through younger players, hungry players who want to play for the club. So I think maybe just giving him a little bit of a run. Not saying starting again; it's still 2 important games, but at least in and around the first team squad and getting a few minutes here and there, keeping them hungry for next season.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to them. I wouldn't be opposed to the likes of Chong or Greenwood or both of them being on the bench against Huddersfield as attacking options.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, I couldn't care less if Martial was dropped out of the squad completely for the last 2 games after the way he's been playing recently. But you could say the same about Rashford as well.
Yeah.
But at least Rashford moves around.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, at least he makes the runs.
Do you know what I mean? I would still choose Rashford over Martial any day of the week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to them being on the bench because it gives you an option. If 80 minutes into the game you need a goal and the current setup just isn't working, we're not potent enough in the attack, then yeah, sure, chuck him on and see what can happen. Or if we are comfortably winning 2 or 3-0 with 10 minutes to go, bring him on. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to them being on the bench, but I just don't think it. I just wouldn't start them at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do agree with that. As there's still something to play for. I had a look at their squad. I did have a little bit of a struggle. Are there any players that are going to cause us problems, you think? I've had a look through. I've picked 4, although granted 1 or 2 are reaching. I've got Jason Punchin, Aaron Moy, I've got Bakuna, and I've got De Poitre. They're the 4 names I picked out. Just maybe 1 or 2 that you've heard of, 1 or 2 that have caused us problems and can cause problems in the past. What do you think? You got the same? You got anyone else? You got none at all?
Well, the only player really was Aaron Moy, because we know that he's a zippy sort of player, and he's quite physical. And when we get physical players up against us, we tend to struggle a little bit at the moment. But other than that, do you know what? I'm going to say no, just because of the position they find themselves in. Their top goal scorer, for Christ's sake, Carlin Grant's only got 4 goals.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking. That is pretty shocking. I mean, who's got 4 goals?
Then again,
I think Lee Grant's got more than that this season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not really anybody that stands out to me as a danger, if I'm honest, in that team. We shouldn't be under any threat. I mean, obviously, they're going to get 1 or 2 half chances. That's just natural. That happens in any game of football. But I don't see any reason why David De Gea can't be keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Why we shouldn't be scoring at least 2 or 3 goals in this game. I have absolutely no reason why that shouldn't. I can't see any reason why that shouldn't be happening. Look at their recent form. They're conceding goals left, right, and centre against half decent teams. Yeah. Then again, we're only half decent at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
but again, if Liverpool just smashed 5 past them not so long ago, last week. So no, I'm going to say no players. No one really that you would look at that team and think, oh, we need to watch out for him.
Okay. So who do we need to watch out for ourselves then? What is your starting 11?
Okay, so this might surprise a few people. Okay. This might even surprise you a little bit.
He's dropping Dave.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. You can't drop Dave.
I thought then.
David De Gea in goal.
Yeah.
My back 4, Diego Dallo, right back.
Yeah.
Chris Smalling, Victor Lindelof, centre back pairing. Luke Shaw at left back.
Yeah.
I'm going with a diamond midfield.
Okay.
Matic at the base, purely because we've got no one else that can occupy that role. Matic can be a liability sometimes, taking too long on the ball. I mentioned to you last week in the podcast when I spoke about Matic, because I had him in my team last week as well, that there can be times when he's got the ball in our own box and he's just faffing with it.
Yeah.
And he tends to lose it or miscontrol it or play a wrong pass and it goes to the opposition. He did that again against Chelsea only once, but he did it again in that match. But at the same time, on the flip side, he's a player that can grab hold of the ball and charge forward 10, 20 yards.
Yeah.
And take the ball out of danger. We've seen him do that against Chelsea. We see him do it quite often. Sometimes he might overrun it slightly, but the fact is he can do that and he can create an attack out of that. So I would put him in at the base of the diamond. And then Herrera and Pogba. Herrera on the right, Pogba on the left of a narrow midfield. Obviously, you wouldn't pick any other two. I wouldn't have thought. And then at the tip of the diamond, Juan Mata.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is where the big surprise might come in. Sanchez and Rashford as the front two. Now, when I was trying to come up with this starting lineup, I was thinking to myself, I don't want to play Martial. He just doesn't looks completely disinterested. We go on about these players that don't play for the shirt. If you want an example of someone not playing for the shirt, you just got to look at Anthony Martial at the moment.
Yeah.
Last few games, he just looks completely disinterested. He gets the ball, he just stands there and just plays it backwards. He doesn't look interested in even making a run. He's just the most frustrating player on the pitch. I sound like myself 6 months ago talking about him.
Yeah.
Well, not even that, 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm thinking we need players that are that can move around, move into space. And there's 2 players in our squad who, at the moment, their form isn't great, but they are 2 players whose movement and finding space are brilliant, and that is Mata and Sanchez. Mata will always find that little pocket of space. He's always zipping across the box, especially when he's playing in that number 10 role. One of the things we complain about so often, well, I do at least anyway, is when we've got the ball in our own half, whether it's Smalling, Lindelof, Shaw, Dallo, Matic, Herrera, whoever, when they're trying to pass the ball forward, they don't have an option because no one's moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas if you've got a Sanchez and a Mata there, they're always moving. Now, the other problem we've got is players actually being able to make that pass forward from the back. But if you've got Matic and Lindelof, those 2 are capable of doing that. So with Matic and Lindelof there, you've got Mata and Sanchez making the moves across the, across the attacking line. I think that will give us a good option because Huddersfield, as I predict, will be sitting back. Even though they're going to be at home, I do think that we're going to come at them. They're going to sit back and they're going to crowd the box. If we've got 3 attackers, 2 of which never move, it's going to be easy for them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you put players like Mata and Sanchez in there, who are going to constantly move around, Rashford as well, he moves around a lot. It's going to confuse them. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to know what they're doing. They're going to be all over the place. So having players like that, I think, will benefit us in this game. So that's why I've gone with Mata at the tip of the diamond and Sanchez and Rashford. If Rashford can be that focal point at number 9, staying on the last defender, whilst Mata and Sanchez are darting around, picking up the ball, if he's ready to receive a through ball or a ball over the top, then I think we can cause them problems. So that's why I've gone with those players.
Interesting. I like the thought. I do like the thought, the mobility and the fluidity up front with Sanchez and Rashford. I mean,
like I said, it's probably going to raise eyebrows because of the personnel that I've picked, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah, I get you.
They're the players that move. They may not have the pace they once had, or the bite and the aggression that they once had, but they've still got the intelligence. You don't lose the intelligence. Yeah, but there's our younger players at the moment just don't have that intelligence. And it's such a crucial part of the season. For me, you got to go with the intelligence.
Well, I've gone the opposite way.
Look, they may have lost the yard of pace and what have you, Mata, Sanchez, but give them half a chance, they'll provide something. We've seen Sanchez. I mean, he doesn't play a lot at the moment, but he has scored for us before. It's not like he's never scored. Mata has scored plenty of goals for us. He scored against Chelsea, being in the right place at the right time, in that little pocket of space on the edge of the box, waiting for the cutback.
Yeah, I like it. I've kind of gone different. I like how I won't say you've played it safe. I say you've played it smart.
I would say so.
Yeah,
not to blow my own trumpet, but I think so.
Yeah, it is. It does make sense. I've just gone completely different. Just for reasons. My lineup, obviously Dave in net, and then exactly the same back four: Dullo, Lindelof, Smalling, and Shaw. Midfield, then I've gone with kind of a weird, like a 4-2, a 3-1. Don't even know what. Bit of a fluid front four as well. McTominay and Fred. I've put in the midfield. Granted, Herrera was great against Chelsea. If he plays, I'm not complaining. Matic is hit and miss. I'm just thinking it's playing players maybe that are going to contribute next season more so than others.
Okay.
And giving them that sort of run out. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if Herrera, Matic, and Pogba that three play again, I'm not going to complain. It's worked for us in the past. But I've gone with sort of McTominay and Fred holding with Pogba just in front. And then either side, kind of like in a front three, but with Pogba just behind. I've gone with sort of the Brexit boys up front, I'll call them, of Lingard, Rashford, and Mason Greenwood. I doubt it's going to happen. Obviously, this is on the basis I have swapped out Rashford because I thought Rashford was injured, but I'm keeping Greenwood in there, whatever happens.
Yeah.
They're just again. Pace, mobility. If Sanchez does play or whatever, I'm fine with that as well. But again, Martial, if he plays, I don't know. But again, we want players who want this, who want to win the game. And as you said, Martial doesn't look like he's that interested at the moment. But whatever happens, I'd like to see maybe one or two youngsters get some minutes at least, just to give them a little bit of taste of next season.
No, right. I like it. So you've gone with a sort of like a 4-3-3, but look a cautious 4-3-3. So instead of having one holding midfielder in the midfield three, you've gone with two essentially with Fred and McTominay with Pogba just in front of them.
It's more so Pogba can find the front three at will pretty much, and it gives him a little bit more freedom to roam forward.
So I think if I was playing that formation, I think I'd probably put McTominay as the. Oh, I don't know. It's a tough. Maybe Fred. Yeah, I think. No, I don't know. It's very difficult. But if we were playing a 4-3-3, I'd probably go with the more traditional 4-3-3 setup with having just the one midfielder that sort of sits back, especially against Huddersfield.
I mean, it's Huddersfield. I mean, I know, but yeah, it's Huddersfield.
I'd probably, if those three that you've picked, I'd probably put McTominay to shield the back four with Fred and Pogba. Being the two central midfielders that would join up and attack, because you think if you've got did you say Lingard, Rashford, and Greenwood? Yeah.
Yep.
So you've got those three, Pogba and Fred behind them, with Dallo and Shaw either side. You know, you've got 7 players joining an attack there. That's pretty scary for any defense.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think so, but how we've been in the past couple of weeks, yeah, it's. I mean, I don't want to disrespect, but at the same time, it's Huddersfield. Do you know what I mean? I think we should be bombing players forward. We
should be going gung ho on them, especially when you look at their recent form.
Exactly, getting everyone forward, trying to put as much pressure and trying to get as many goals as we can, and put out a statement. To be honest, but I'm sure we'll see. What's the score going to be? What's your prediction?
I'm going to say no. I don't know. Oh, this is going to sound overconfident, but I'm going to go 4-0.
Oh, you come on! I love it. It's exactly what I've got, 4-0.
I've just, as we were talking about it, and as I was just imagining your team that you've picked with the sort of like a reverse midfield, so 1 and 2 instead of 2 and 1. As I was saying that and saying in my head, you're going to have 7 players joining an attack. I was just thinking, Christ, if we do that for 90 minutes. And I was just imagining a headline the next day: United find their rhythm with 4-0 thrashing of Huddersfield. And I was thinking, yes, boy, that's what it's going to be.
We love it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 4-0. We're going to win.
Is that what what's your prediction? 4-0?
Yeah, 4-0. That was that's what I've had down for a couple of hours. Yeah, 4-0. So that's why I started laughing, because it was exactly the same as I got. So yeah, love it.
Awesome. I hope this podcast episode, people that are listening, I hope this just inspires some hope. Not just the title, it's not over yet, but just the fact that we're sat here thinking, yeah, we're going to drum them 4-0. Yeah. I'd love it.
It'd be great.
Famous words of Kevin Keegan. I'd absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
so I think that about rounds up the Huddersfield preview then.
It does indeed.
Should we take it over to Twitter, see what's being said over there?
We can indeed. So yeah, as always, the tweeting out discussion points. Let us know what you'd like. Okay, top of the shop then. Kind of a weird thing for me. It's a weird one. Mr. Saunders, Owen, he's a mate of mine. He's an interesting one, Mr. Saunders, because he loves to have a moan. And what's he said? If you could bring one ex-defender, one ex-midfielder, and one ex-striker, who would they be in their prime into this team, assuming 4-3-3? He said Vidic, Keane, and Van Persie. Okay.
I would agree with Vidic 100%.
Yeah.
I would agree with Keane 100% because you just know that in that squad, if Keane was in that squad,
Yeah.
every player would be given 100%.
Yeah.
Not sure I'd agree with Van Persie. Probably because he was only with us for one season. He was well, 2 seasons, wasn't it? Second season, he was injured quite a lot.
Well.
Yeah. But I think I would go with either a prime Wayne Rooney or Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on. Am I with you on Vidic? It's Vidic or Rio, isn't it? Yeah, I'll go with Vidic. We do need an absolute battler, and like 99 times out of 100, if you ask me any ex-midfielder to bring back, it would be Paul Scholes. I mean, for me, it is.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but in this current crop, with this current set of players, it has to be Roy Keane.
Yeah,
it has to be someone who's going to batter the shit out of these. You need someone to grab this team by the scruff of the neck and go, right, look at that badge. Who are you playing for? Let's have it. You know what I mean? And there was no one better doing that than Roy Keane. So I'd have to agree. Vidic, Keane, maybe Cantona as well as an attacker.
Yes.
I mean, I love Van Nistelrooy, proven striker. But the thing with Van Nistelrooy, Rooney's a great shout as well. Van Nistelrooy, though, he was so reliant on service. And it's one thing that we don't really provide enough of in this squad.
True.
But someone like Cantona, he could make something out of nothing. Again, he was another leader on the pitch up front. He would take responsibility of a game and power you through. So maybe, I'll go for Eric. Sod it.
Good shout.
Just because of the lack of leaders we've got in this squad altogether. So yeah, Vidic, Keane, and Eric.
A lack of leadership and a lack of character.
Yeah.
That's something that Cantona had in abundance, was character.
Yeah. And I love that Owens added, also on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate Jesse Lingard? he absolutely, I've never seen anyone hate Jesse Lingard as much as Mr. Saunders. Let the kids play. That's what I always tell him. He's not a kid anymore.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Cheers, O's. Ike Iguala. I'm for Ollie to follow the Fergie blueprint, get the bad influences out, and start building with Premier League proven players. Okay, which 4 players currently down the league have the quality to get into Man United? I'm assuming that you mean below the bottom 6. If we could pick any players, I mean, I like the idea of Premier League proven players because they've got the experience, they're used to the physicality of it. I mean, and there is some decent players down in sort of mid-table and whatnot who I think maybe could add some quality to United's side. Who have you got in mind? I think we'll probably come up with some similar names.
Well, just to address the first part of the tweet, I don't think we should really call it the Fergie blueprint because it's in the club's DNA from many, many, many years ago, way before Fergie. And also building with Premier League proven players. I know you've not specifically said Premier League proven players only, but again, it's not just Premier League proven players. We bring players in from all over the world into our youth system and develop them that way. So it doesn't just necessarily have to be Premier League proven players. But I get what you're saying. I think everybody really would be up for this new strategy, if you can call it that the club are, so to say, putting in place in terms of player recruitment. I'm well up for that. Get the bad influences out of the team and start bringing through some young talent, nurturing some young talent and bringing them through that way. Obviously, we still will look, just because we're going to take on this new strategy, it doesn't mean we're never going to buy a top class player at a high price ever again. we still will need to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if we did go and splash 60, 70, 80 million on a player this summer. We will still do that. We will have to if we want to stay in a top 4 fight. That's never going to stop. What I don't think we'll do is go splashing 100 and 120, 130 million on like an Mbappe or something like that, or a Neymar. Players like that. That sort of thing won't happen. But no, I'm definitely all up for this this new strategy that the team, the club, are going to put into place. But 4 players. Well, there's one player that's on everyone's lips who is a decent player, and that's that Wan-Bissaka.
Yep, from Palace.
Yeah, I think he would be definitely a shout. There's another fullback who I think is a top quality, but he's a left back, and I wouldn't want to see him take Shaw out of the team, although I do think that he could end up being a better player than Shaw, and that's that Luca Dean.
Yeah,
Everton.
Lucas Digne, yeah.
I think he's an absolute top talent. That's a couple of players. Neves from Wolves, and who else am I thinking of? Well, do you want to go list off some while I keep thinking?
Yeah. I mean, Neves is pretty much a nailed on one for most players. I think we've seen his quality last year and this year. I do like Diego Jota from Wolves as well. He's only 21, scored a bagload of goals. His movement, his aggression has been superb this season. I do agree with Digne, Lucas Digne. He's been fantastic. Again, Wan-Bissaka. Do you know another one for me is maybe De La Feu from Watford. There's been times this season where he's been absolutely superb, especially the game against Wolves in the FA Cup semi-final. He came off the bench and just completely turned that game on his head.
How old is he?
25.
Yeah. He was at Everton, wasn't he?
He was at Everton, and he was obviously originally at Barcelona.
Yeah.
Leicester have got some decent players, both their full-backs. Chilwell and Ricardo Pereira, both promising. Yuri Tielemans from Leicester as well, midfielder, superb talent. He's only, is he 19, 20, 21, something like that. He's a fantastic talent as well. So yeah, there's just a few to name off. I mean, if we were going to go, there is some decent players, and I think we could do with at least 1 or 2 of those players. I think we need to bring in players who are used to the Premier League. I don't want to say it's a gamble buying outside of the Premier League, but I think we've done enough gambling with the cash that the club has invested into players.
The thing is, though, people go on about buying Premier League proven. I mean, we brought in Morgan Schneiderlin, right? Who, when we bought him, was one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. When you look at his stats, when he was playing at Southampton, So when we signed him and Schweinsteiger, we thought we had this amazing midfield. Look what happened there. Premier League proven was a flop. Yeah. You've got just as much chance of a player being a flop Premier League proven than you have outside of the Premier League. So I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's just something that, that's just playing it safe or trying to play it safe. Where if you adopt that approach to your transfer strategy in a strict manner, you could be missing so many tricks outside the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the best teams in the league at the moment. Look at Man City, for example. A lot of their players are from overseas, top talents. So I'm not saying I disagree with bringing in Premier League proven, because there is a lot of decent talent in the Premier League, and a lot of them, a load of those names we've just reeled off, I wouldn't be upset bringing them in. But what I don't think is that we should be looking at Premier League proven as a priority over players outside of the Premier League, because like I said, you could, you think of how many players that are outside the Premier League compared to how many there are inside, I'd be willing to bet that you'd have more luck looking outside the Premier League.
Yeah, that one's that then.
That's that one. Yeah.
I'd be right. Asks thoughts on the leaked 2019-2020 shirt. Have you seen it?
I have seen.
On sale in Sports Direct.
I've seen a shirt going around. It was probably 2-3 weeks ago. So if it's the same one, where it's just basically plain red. I think there's red stripes on a red shirt on the shoulder. You can sort of like see the raised stripes on the shoulder, and it's got like a black badge. Is that the one? Yeah.
That's the one.
I like the concept. I like the idea of it, but I don't like the badge being black. I just don't think it looks right. I don't know. And this is someone who loves, well, not loves, but really does like the current shirt, red and black. A lot of people didn't like that one. I tend to like anything if it's a change.
Yeah.
But this one, I looked at it. I didn't hate it. It was just a badge. It just kept drawing my attention, and I wasn't sure about it. I like the idea of it. I like the concept. So you never know. And apparently, the people that leaked it have got it right for the last like 4 or 5 seasons. So that could well end up being the shirt next season.
I think it is, because, as I say, it was on sale in Sports Direct.
Oh, you weren't joking?
No, I genuinely wasn't. It was 65 quid. It was, and we haven't even thingied it. We haven't even confirmed it yet. And it was on sale in Sports Direct. I think it's been taken down now, though, but it did go up for sale for a day or so. So yeah,
right.
I think it is. I mean, I'm the same as you. I love the red and black kits. I really like this season's, and I would have loved the idea. I don't mind the black badge, to be honest. I quite like it, but for me, it would have had to have the Chevrolet logo would have had to have been black as well, and then matching with black stripes. And then I would have said, that's actually really nice. But yeah, with the gold Chevrolet, the black badge, and it just doesn't really work for me. I think I saw a third kit, which is actually like mostly black with some little red tints here and there, which I really like if it's the genuine one. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the new shirt if that is the one, which I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, not for me.
Do you know what I want?
Go on.
I want the green and gold half and half to come back.
Yeah, with while the Glazers,
I would absolutely love. Yeah, I know. Well, someone actually tweeted about it not so long ago, and I said that'll never happen whilst the Glazers are in charge. Yeah. And whoever it was that I was having that conversation with came back and said, "Well, actually, just think how much money that shirt would make."
That's very true. Yeah.
I was thinking, yeah, got a good point. Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I was a big fan of that. I was a big fan of the throwback to the Newton Heath kick as well. That
yes.
Yeah, very nice. To finish us off then, Yusuf, he says, do you think we should be signing 2 wingers? Because Ole's preferred way of play is a 4-3-3 pressing game with speed. When you look at our options, we have no natural wingers as all the attackers are central players.
I think we don't have anybody that can play at the moment that can play on the right. Naturally, Martial, I would consider to be a left wing attacker. So you got to think in a 4-3-3, it's normally the fullbacks who are the wingers, so to speak. They're the ones that are going to be hogging the touchline constantly. You expect your wide attackers from a wide position to come in anyway, which is what Martial does, although for some reason he doesn't like coming in anymore. He just tends to knock the ball backwards and looks disinterested. But I definitely do agree that if he is going to adopt that 4-3-3 system next season, then yes, absolutely, he would need to buy an attacking winger priority on the right-hand side, because I would imagine that Martial probably going to stay over the summer. I don't know. Because if he leaves, if Herrera leaves, it's too much. It's just too many players going out the door. So I don't think we're going to be bringing hordes of players in. Well, I mean, I could be surprised with this new approach to player recruitment. We could end up bringing 7 or 8 players in. I don't know, but I think that we do need to bring wingers in, and right side would be the priority.
Yeah, I agree. I've said it for a long time now that really we don't have any natural wingers in the squad. Again, you've mentioned that switch of Martial, brought him in really as a central player. Well, he was playing as a central player, and then he's naturally adopted the wide position. But again,
well, when would you say he naturally adopted the wide position? Because as far as I was concerned, he was playing from a wide position in Monaco as well.
He was, it was the thing. He was always so clinical, wasn't he? I think it was almost his downfall, wasn't it? That he was usually so calm and clinical in front of goal.
So I seem to remember going back. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it was last season, maybe. Mourinho actually gave him a run. Well, no, he didn't even give him a run. He didn't need to. He's seen enough in the bloody first half an hour, and so did I, if I'm quite frank. But we played Martial as a number 9 in the middle, and what happened for 80 minutes?
Drifted wide.
He was always going wide. It was that's what's natural to him. That's his position. If he can't play centrally, I've got no doubt that he could be an absolute fantastic number 9.
Yeah.
But he doesn't play the number 9. He just naturally finds himself drifting out wide. We played him in a number 9 position for a couple of games, and he never stayed there.
No.
I think maybe one game, I think might have been against Arsenal or something like that, where he did adopt that position and ended up scoring. But other than that one time, the other occasions that I can, because there was a period during last season where I was watching Martial like a hawk because he was frustrating me. So I'd watch him in every game, especially those games where he played as a number 9, and and both games, he was constantly drifting out wide all the time, leaving masses of space in the middle. Yeah. And it was frustrating to watch, which is why I've always, ever since then, I've always maintained the fact that he is not a number 9, despite what anyone says. I'll argue to the hills.
I think he could be a decent left forward, but I think that time is pretty much dead, isn't it? Of playing 2 forwards, 2 strikers up together in a 4-4-2 or something like that. As a left-sided forward, working with someone else and cutting in from slightly off the wing. But yeah, I mean, not seem to work in him playing as a forward. But yeah, along the right side, it's absolutely abysmal. And I think if Ollie wants to play this direct, fast-paced, pressing, attacking game, he's going to have to make some signings. Whether that involves bringing in a few players or bringing in one, offloading some, and then bringing some of the youth through. I don't know, but yeah, we certainly need to bolster the squad going forward, especially on that right hand side, because it's ridiculous the amount of time we've had to wait for a decent right forward. I mean, who was the last right-sided forward that we bought? Was it Antonio Valencia?
Antonio Valencia, yeah.
It must have been, wasn't it?
Did we? No, because we always, when we had Zaha, the few games he did play was from the left, I think, wasn't it?
Left, I think he played from, wasn't it? So it's, So what's that? Nearly 10 years.
Donkeys years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So yeah, desperately need reinforcements there. That's it then.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Do you want to give out your Twitter details?
Yeah, it's at Ashbio, ASHBOIO.
And you can follow myself as well. It's at Paul Gardner MU. Send us some tweets. Let us know what you think of the podcast. If you agree with any of our points, disagree, what team would you pick to play against Huddersfield? Let us know. You can tweet the podcast account as well at United Stand Pod. If you're listening on YouTube, be sure to leave some comments, like the video, subscribe, share it around. And obviously the podcast is available on normal podcast apps as well. If you are on YouTube, be sure to go over to at Redbeard or just Redbearded Red. That's Andrew Southwick's channel, and also Van Cam as well. You'll enjoy both of them if you are Man United fans, and I would hope that you are if you're listening to this.
Especially if you listen this far.
Yeah, especially if Christ, I wonder how many people are listening to this point. But yeah, that's it from us. We'll be back next week, hopefully. With another 3 points in the bag. Hopefully Chelsea don't win. Let's see what happens. So cheers for joining me, Ash, as always.
Yes, thank you.
And thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back next week.